Welcome to episode 15 of Reverse the Relapse. Today, we are talking about a very personal experience that I have had in the last 5 days in hospital that's relevant to you and your eating and weight. The topic is, are you more comfortable surviving than thriving? You're in the right place if you're ready to stop the sabotage and weight regain post-weight loss surgery and start losing again. Hi, I'm Georgie Beames. I'm a psychologist who specializes in the area of emotional eating, sabotage, and weight regain for weight loss surgery patients. I work both in a weight loss surgery clinic as well as supporting women online to reverse the relapse. I honestly believe that psychology should be a mandatory part of everyone's weight loss surgery journey. Your body has had an upgrade to version 2.0 after surgery, but your mind has been operating at version 1.0. You're here to update your mind to match your body and get back on your weight loss path, and I'm here to help you. So I just finished up a 5-day residential sleep school in hospital with my 12-month-old boy, Nate. So let me start by giving you some context. And this is a really personal share. And I think you're going to find it really relevant to your eating and weight and your mindset around it and where you're at. So in terms of context, Nate is my second child. His older brother, Harvey, was an absolutely amazing sleeper, like a dream. Harvey was sleeping through at around 6 months. And then Nate came along and we expected the same. But, you know, as they say, you really can't have two good sleepers, right? I'm not sure about what your experiences have been. But in the last 365 days, because Nate just recently turned 1, I have slept through around 6 of those nights. And so that is around 300 nights of disrupted sleep. And, you know, it's been really tough. You've probably heard that saying that sleep deprivation is a form of torture. Now, that's all a little bit dramatic, but, you know, it was a really tough year. And in many ways, it was absolutely amazing. And, you know, he's a beautiful boy and I love him to bits, but it's also has been a huge adjustment going from 1 to 2 children and challenging just in regards to the lack of sleep, right? Now, I'm going to totally own it and put my hand up and say that we are very responsible for creating some bad habits with Nate. So some of these included, and like I said, I'm going to get personal. It's kind of warts and all here for you. Feeding him to sleep. So Nate was having around 6 to 8 bottles in a 24-hour period. If he woke up during the night, we'd bring him into our bed, which he absolutely loved, and he would need a bottle to self-settle. We didn't really have the structure and routine in place that promoted good sleep. So he never went down in his cot himself. So he would have to fall asleep in our arms or, you know, on the couch next to us, of course. It was all very safe, or in the pram. So he did his day sleeps in the pram and I just used to walk around the block or walk to the shops because it was just too hard to put him in his bed and have to start a routine. So I have been very, very aware of these issues and these bad habits, but I just didn't know how to fix it. It seemed incredibly overwhelming and I just didn't know where to start. You know, you talk to someone and they give their opinion and you talk to someone else and they give their opinion and you Google it and you read the books and there's just so much information out there. You know, do you do this? Do you do that? And I had read a few books and I didn't really know what was going to be right for Nate or for me. So it got me thinking about this last week because I've just got out of the hospital from the sleep school. And what I was thinking about is where you might be right now with your eating and weight. So you've had surgery and now some bad eating habits have snuck back in. Now, you are aware of these bad eating habits, like extra snacking or nighttime eating, eating in the car, etc. But maybe you're a bit like me in that just knowing that the bad habits isn't enough to change it. So awareness is a great start, but it's still not enough to change. Now, again, if you're a bit like me, you might also be feeling a bit overwhelmed. Like, I know that there's things going on that's not working for me, that's problematic, and these bad eating habits, etc. But where do I start? Or it just feels all too hard. It feels all too consuming. Or should I do this? Or should I do that? You might be Googling different things or looking, at social media or hearing conflicting information. And I just want to say I totally, totally get it. Now, again, I'm laying this all out for you, warts and all. So essentially with my situation with Nate and the sleeping or lack thereof, I was in denial about my struggles for about 8 months. So what had happened is we bought a house off the plan many years ago. And of course, settlement was right when COVID hit. So we basically settled on a Friday and we moved house on a Monday, right? It was crazy, crazy times. But what had happened is we were always 1 month away from moving in. So we'd speak to the developer and it's like, it's next month. And it'll be like, okay, it's next month, it's next month. And then I thought, okay, I'll deal with it when we move house. Because I thought to myself, well, I don't want to set up this whole new structure and put all this work in, even though in reality, I didn't even know what work to put in. I didn't know where to start, but that was irrelevant. This was the story I was telling myself, that I'll deal with it when we move house. And then, of course, when we moved house, COVID hit. And then I'll deal with it after COVID. So now we've got like 6 months that have gone past. And then Nate was about to turn 1. And then I thought, well, I'll deal with it after his birthday. And in truth, this is me just being really honest with you, I was just making a ton of excuses. It was like self-deception. I was secretly hoping that it would just correct itself without me having to do any of this hard work. I actually secretly hoped I would just wake up one day and he would just start sleeping. Like he would wake up and I could put him down in the cot and he'd fall straight to sleep, or he could suddenly sleep through the night. Now, it's what I actually call fantasy thinking. So it's kind of like hoping to win the lotto, right? Now, I'm wondering if, again, deep down or, secretly, you might be feeling the same way when it comes to eating and your weight. Now, I would complain to others about the lack of sleep and, telling them, it was hard and, maybe it's just a phase and it would correct itself. But then I would actually do nothing to fix it. And I was just in complete victim mode for many, many months. Now, the issue about victim mode is you can't change when you're in victim mode. You actually stay really powerless. So what happened is I got to a point where I was exhausted. So I was in survival mode. Now I would do whatever needed to be done each day, but then at the end of the day, I would just fall into a heap and I was, absolutely exhausted. And then I had this rock bottom moment the day after Nate turned 1. And, it was a mixed emotion. So, I was so excited that he turned 1. It's a massive milestone, well done, mum and dad. And then it was also feeling like this sadness. And I remember I was in tears the day after his first birthday. And I don't think God knew why, because it was meant to be this happy occasion. But, I just felt like, oh my God, it's been a really tough year. It was like you can keep go. And I'm quite good. I've got good energy. I can keep doing the things. I can keep, kind of pushing through when I need to. But I got to that point where I'm like, I just can't keep doing this anymore. I don't want to just survive, because surviving is really leading a mediocre life. I actually want to thrive. I actually want more than this. And I want you to check in with yourself. Where are you at with eating and your weight? Are you surviving or are you thriving? Because you can't have both. And if you're surviving, I want you to ask yourself, don't you deserve more? So for me, once I hit that rock bottom moment, this became my priority. the sleep school, getting help. And I actually got help within 1.5 weeks. I was happy to do anything. So I enrolled in sleep school. Now, here's the one question I have been pondering on my stay, because I've only just recently returned home. And this is the question, why did I leave it so long to get help? Why do we wait until we hit rock bottom to get help? Why couldn't I have done this 6 months ago? Now, I'm getting expert help, right? And it seems like a no-brainer now that I've got the help. Why did I put this off? Why didn't I prioritize this sooner? Because it was having a huge impact on my life in all areas, like I had no me time. Con and I weren't spending, couple time together because, we just had no structure, no routine. Nate was around the whole time. He was overtired. So there would be like constant crying for like 2 hours every night, right? That was like a good night. Whew, can't believe, it's so often when you get through it that you look back and think, gosh, how did we do it, Now, to be honest, my only regret is that I just didn't do this sooner. Now, reflecting on my experiences that I see with my one-on-one clients, and let's be honest, no one sees a psychologist when things are going really well, right? Or even just okay. People see a psychologist when it's unbearable, when they hit that rock bottom moment. And often clients see me when they're 6 months, 12 months, maybe even 2 years later than when they perhaps should have or could have got the help that they needed. So here's my take on all of this. Whether it's about your baby sleeping or not sleeping, as the case may be, or about your eating and weight, when we're struggling, for the most part, there are 3 things that I've learned that I want to share with you. Number 1, we don't like the struggle, we don't enjoy the struggle, but we tolerate it. We tolerate the struggle, which means that we are tolerating mediocrity in our own lives. Secondly, we prefer comfort over change, over positive change. And thirdly, we are more comfortable surviving than thriving. So how does this relate to you? Here are some questions that I want you to ask yourself. Are you tolerating mediocrity in your life? Are you choosing being comfortable in your struggle rather than prioritizing positive change? Are you surviving or are you thriving? Again, you only get to choose one. Which is it? When we are really in it, it's hard to see the forest from the trees, and we can be too close, to all of this, and we can get caught up in just the day-to-day of it and not see the changes that are available to us. And we need someone to help us to really be honest with ourselves and to help us understand these choices that we are making, because we are choosing this. You are choosing this for yourself and the consequences of these choices. This didn't just happen to you. There's a part of you that chose this, chose these decisions, chose this excess weight, chose this behavior. But the positive now is that you can choose differently. You can choose better for yourself. You can choose positive change. So I was surviving for over a year, and I was telling myself a story that, it is what it is. It will get better soon. It's just a phase. All mums go through this. All mums are tired. And these stories kept me surviving, and it actually got in the way of me thriving. Now, the thing is, the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. And this is exactly what I observed in sleep school. So there was a 2-year-old there, and it was a completely traumatic experience, not only for the family, but for all of us. It was just the constant screaming, and it was just, it was very, very difficult. And the longer you leave the bad eating habits, the weight gain, etc., the worse that it will get as well. So let's talk about what life can look like when you are thriving, when you make positive changes for yourself. So where I'm at now, 5 days of sleep school was, I just felt so great to get help. Like I felt the minute that I booked in, I just felt instant relief and I was looking forward to getting started. I just loved getting a specific plan for my baby from an expert who specializes in this, have, helped thousands and thousands of babies and mums because the trust is there. And they could just tell me what to do and show me and let me try it and build my confidence. And what happened is from night one, right, when we've got from 1 year of like no sleep, night one, Nate slept from 7:30 p.m. to 8 a.m. And he's done that every single night since. He sleeps well in the morning. Now, we are struggling a bit with the afternoon sleep, but that's okay. I've got the techniques. I just have to be consistent and have the confidence to use the tools and continue. But after my experience at sleep school, I can see that Nate is thriving and is going to thrive, which means that I will thrive as well. So here's your transformation takeaway. I want you to sit with these two key questions. What story are you telling yourself about your eating and weight that's keeping you surviving and not thriving? So I want you to sit with what's really getting in your way. Now, most of the women that I work with, they do secretly hope, if they're really honest with themselves, that it's going to correct itself, that it will go away, that perhaps you'll wake up tomorrow and just have no cravings, at 9 o'clock at night. Or you will wake up tomorrow and have willpower, non-existent willpower to, not eat the chocolate tomorrow. But this is that whole I'll start tomorrow mentality. So let me ask you, if you continue to hold on to the story or belief that it will correct itself, where do you think you'll be with your eating and your weight in 12 months from now? So write it down. Dig into these questions, right? So, get out a notebook, get out a journal and ask yourself, if you continue to hold on to the story or belief that it will go away, it will correct itself, where will you be with your eating and weight in 12 months' time? It's just like if I waited another year to go to sleep school with Nate, it would have been a lot worse than what it was, right? So the key message is, if you're struggling right now with your eating and weight, you're feeling out of control, the number on the scales are moving in the wrong direction, and you're worried that you will regain all of your lost weight after surgery, please don't wait. It won't magically fix itself. In fact, it will only get worse and worse the more you continue. And you just continue to live a life that's just surviving. And you deserve more. You deserve to thrive. We all do. So I invite you to reach out. Let's connect. I can share how I can help you get back in control, get back on your path, feel good about yourself. So if you're ready for that, you want to have a conversation around that and how I can help you, click the link to work with me and complete the application form to let me know just where you're at, what you're struggling with. What are your biggest blocks? What are your barriers? What are the stories getting in your way? And I'll get back in touch and we'll go from there. Now, I absolutely wish that someone had given me this nudge to get expert help months ago. So if you need to hear this message right now, this is a sign. Trust it. Reach out. Let's have a conversation and we can go from there. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you for listening, appreciate all the feedback on social media and the emails that I receive. I love how the messages here are resonating. I hope this personal story has helped you. There are so many parallels. I will look forward to seeing you over in the next episode. Bye for now. If you loved the content in this podcast, you have to come and check out my one-on-one coaching program. We work together for 3 months to get you back in control and change your relationship with food for good. Now, I only have limited places available every month, so go to my website and click Work With Me. That's www.georgiebeames.com. See you over there.